you're being judged on? Is it like creativity?
It's basically, would Val want to play this game?
You're trying to convince someone who doesn't play video games to play Fallout. Why Fallout should be a game that she plays.
Uh-huh.
It's the best.
Okay, yeah. Easy.
Okay.
See, with this many people, it really feels like Brady Bunch.
We're missing one.
Okay, we are live. So, Steve, whenever you want to start.
Welcome to the 3-episode podcast. I will be your bailiff in charge of this podcast trio. We are talking about Bethesda, is something like that. I don't know. Not something I'm truly into. Our defendants and prosecutors know all about this. And the first arc that we're going to be talking about is going to be Fallout. So joining us in the courtroom is our normal host, Justin.
Hello, everyone. I'm taking a step back this trio and letting it all play out because I'm going to be one of the people discussing. So we're changing up a little bit.
We have his brother, Ryan.
I am the representative lawyer for Doom, otherwise known as the best made game of all three of these, the best of them all. Yeah, rip and tear. Let's do it.
Next, we have, I guess, this John, right? Or is it Pub Boy?
Plot twist, it was me the whole time.
Did you say Pub Boy?
Yes, I did.
Howdy, folks.
Change
I will
approved.
be
Change
shipping
approved.
for the Fallout series this evening, and I cannot wait to convince you and Val that it's actually the most fun series of the three that we're going to talk about over this trio. Let me go ahead and change my name back now.
I am going to go a little out of order. We also have Justin's youngest brother, Travis.
Hello. I am the in-between of both Doom and Dishonored because I know both and both need assistance.
Oh, I don't need assistance, but
Doom is amazing.
You could be my what's it called? My oh man, I can't think what would it be called. You're my my law clerk. There you go.
You hold our paperwork.
Yeah.
Paralegal.
He's your paralegal.
Yes,
There you go.
Paralegal.
We are also joined by Bill.
Hello. Bill the Fajita here. I am representing Fallout as part of the defense there.
Then we also have Jess.
Hi. I am also representing Fallout, and I'm going to tell you why this game is so fun because I've been playing it since I was 14.
Fans at home might remember Jess from our cryptid and spooky trio a couple episodes back. Is that a tiny plush dog meat?
It is. He's got little goggles on and a bandana.
Oh man, what a good boy.
Best boy.
Best boy.
And last but definitely not least, we have our judge, Val.
Hi, hello, ladies and gentlemen of the podcast jury. You may be seated. Today we will hear the civil case of Bethesda Games and its first installment. The first installment is Fallout. Lawyers, are you ready to proceed?
Yeah.
You guys,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Party, fucking party.
All right. And all I would like to say is let's get ready to debate.
Oh shit.
My God, really?
You know Justin probably has like a fucking soundboard with that on it, right?
Right. You probably don't need the actual horn.
Well,
Yes, I do.
I'll allow it.
all right, that's fair. So
Well, I guess the gavel is now obsolete because it is air horn season.
Ready? Court is now in session. It's the best $3 I've ever spent.
Love it.
All right, John, would you like to proceed with?
Yes, let me
your-
just fix one thing right quick. There we go. Okay. Boom. Sorry, I couldn't get my YouTube to actually work on my TV. It was just showing our being like coming up at 1
Trying to fix your game.
No. I will literally, you're only an hour and a half away. I will drive up there and beat the shit out of you. I've threatened this to your mother so many times.
It does need a lot of help, but we'll get into
No,
it later.
John, in the tradition of Bethesda Fallout games, did you just have a glitch on the start of
On
your
launch?
Not for nothing. Yes and no, but it was mostly a YouTube one. You'll see it in the group chat at home. So
okay.
Before we get started, why don't we do our John? What are you drinking?
I am drinking a Cazador.
I wish all courtrooms had "What is John drinking?" at the beginning.
Cazador?
So, Jess, unfortunately, you did not go to Bethesda Game Days this year.
Was that the one at the most recent PAX?
Yes.
I did, but I was very intoxicated.
Oh, okay. So a Cazador was a jalapeno margarita.
Ooh.
It was really
The
good.
name's triggering because I don't like Cazador.
Yeah, I figured as much. So what I did was I actually made it with mezcal, a muddled hot pepper, a little bit of triple sec, some peach tree, and then a little bit of lime. And oh man, oh, it's beautiful. I love a good margarita on occasion.
That sounds actually really good.
Cool. Well,
Love
The
it.
glass.
I don't want to take over hosting details, but why don't someone try and say what Fallout is? Why don't we start by describing what the game is before we start trying to
Also, for those of you who haven't watched the last episode, the reason why I've been appointed the judge is because I have no fucking clue about video games. And so this is going to be a lot of me asking really dumb questions, but most of you probably know more than I do.
You at least know you don't want to play a glitchy game, right?
I mean,
that's a great thing because sure, it's not fucking day one anymore. It's been out for several years now. They're mostly fixed.
Good point. Good point. Also,
Hey,
I
listen,
think John's this
Yeah.
in the video.
John, you gotta
I have more arguments against Fallout than glitch, so it's fine.
That's
Well,
fine.
I'll cover the glitches. Okay, John.
I
why don't
I
you cover
think
what
I've
Fallout
just
is?
explained why that's a non-issue. The only I in preparation for this whole trio and for this specific episode, I went through and I tried to find what glitches are still major problems. In that, I mean that you can still encounter in 80% of your playtime, and there's next to none. The only time that you actually get a super duper amount of glitches is when you have a ton of mods, which I'm not talking about in this series because I've accepted that I think the games themselves should stand on their own before you add a mod to it.
Before you get to that, can you explain to me what Fallout is? Because I don't know what a mod is.
I was just about to.
Yeah, tell me what Fallout
Before we were suddenly interrupted by the Dishonored.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really bad defense name. Although it is a really good pop punk band name, so I might use that at one point. Also, Doom Lawyer, kind of want to go see them play with Sabatone one day.
Right.
So, to tell you about the series of Fallout, I need to tell you about the world of Fallout. Because I think that when you hear about one without the other, it doesn't really make sense. I can tell you all about this world where you go out into the world and there's nothingness, there's radiation everywhere, but it doesn't help you if you don't have the backstory. So somewhere between 1945 and 1960, the dates are not exactly known, there's a timeline split. So in our timeline, we have things like microchips and fossil fuels and I swear to God, Justin, stop changing my name. We have things like microchips and fossil fuels and all these other fun things that make sense, but we also did not advance culturally in a way. We advanced technologically. In the world of Fallout, thank you. In the world of Fallout, the exact opposite happened, where they embraced the power of the nuclear bomb. and everything is nuclear, where the vehicles are a nuclear powered vehicle. The TVs are still nuclear powered. It's very retro 50s in aesthetic. The music to that point is basically swing music. And, at some point, I believe it was 2075.
77.
Thank you. But there were resource wars that happened, which basically took place ahead of that actual main war, where they had to go out and find oil, fossil fuels, anything like that. So there was a time where the United States annexed Canada, built a massive base in Anchorage, Alaska to repel communism. And at some point, we don't exactly know, somebody pushed the button to launch every single one of their nuclear missiles. And then every other country pushed the button to launch every single one of their nuclear missiles. And nuclear war happened on October 27th, I believe it was.
23rd.
23rd, thank you, 2077. Now, that would have basically brought the end of the world, as one could assume. But clearly, I'm talking about a series of games where people have existed. Now, how do they exist? Well, this company called Vault-Tec decided to build these fallout shelters and keep some of humanity alive. Now, it sounds all well and good, except for the fact that of the vaults that were built, 17 were supposed to be control vaults where nothing bad happened, and all of the others had some sort of fucked up experiment on it. So, the vaults range from ones where, do you sacrifice one person a year to keep the entire vault alive? Can one person survive with just a single box of puppets? What would happen if there's a cloner in your vault? What happens if you're one man with 999 women? What happens if you're one woman with 999 men? These are both vaults that existed.
Important questions, by the way. This is science.
Yeah, this is all for science. Now, I bring up the control vaults because in two of the experiments, Vault 101 and I believe the vault from Fallout 1, they were exactly that. They were control vaults. They were not designed to be any fucked up shit, none of that completely at all. But something still happened that they had to open their door. Now, in the case of Fallout 76, the most recent Fallout game, that vault, which is Vault 76, was designed to open 20 years after the bombs fell. And those people in that vault were supposed to go out into the wilderness and recolonize America, basically. So that brings us to where we are now with the games as a whole. The world that you step out into in almost every single game is the world that's either apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic, which is...
You start games coming out of the vault. That's how the gameplay starts.
For the most part, yes.
More or less, yeah.
With one exception being Fallout
2.
New Vegas and Fallout 2, yeah. So in Fallout New Vegas, what happens is, oh God, I'm blanking on his name, but the dude from Friends, Chandler.
Yeah.
Matthew Perry.
Chandler shoots you in the head. That's how the game starts. You then get patched up because somehow the bullet doesn't actually kill you and a doctor fixes you and you step out into the world from a doctor's office, but hey, it happens.
Might as well be a vault, you know?
It's basically a vault, but you get all the vault stuff. So I guess where we start from here is, let's talk lore. And Fallouts 1 and 2 are almost the best place for that because it's the first two games of the series that came out a year apart. And I'm going to turn that over to my esteemed colleague, Jess, Miss Mothman, down there, because she has played it far more than I have. And it's a very fun isometric series of games that the rest of the series builds off of and pays homage to, even though they were created by a different studio.
Wait, objection? Should we be allowing games made by other studios?
No,
It's the series we're talking about here. I'm not talking about...
It's the Bethesda series.
Bethesda.
It's
So
the
we're sticking
Bethesda.
to Bethesda specifically.
Because
Yes.
if we're not, then I get to use all of
Alright.
Doom.
Wait a minute. No, just Bethesda. It's easier. Just Bethesda.
Okay.
Okay. I want to hear Jeff.
This is a gavel. This is a gavel moment. The gavel.
I'm gonna
There we go.
board. Yeah. I don't have to bang my gavel. I can just say sustained.
Oh,
Your
okay.
objection is sustained. We're just gonna do Bethesda.
Well, you just made this easier for me then, because now I get to talk
Now
about
we
the
get to
four
talk about
best
the
games
fun
of the
games.
series. Sorry, Jess, you kind of got shafted there.
I did, even though that takes away New Vegas.
No, it doesn't, because
Yes.
Bethesda
It
published New
does, John.
Vegas.
It does.
But Black
Yes, it
Isle
does.
Studios also worked on New Vegas as well. Bethesda bought out, even though Bethesda was part of Fallout 1 and Fallout 2's development, it still was technically under Black Isle Studio, but they also helped with the development of New Vegas.
Question:
Unfortunately.
Is Bethesda on the box?
Yes, Bethesda is on the box for
Then I
all
think
of the
it's
Fallout
fair.
games.
I think it's fair game.
Well, let's leave that to Judge Val then. If the name Bethesda is on the box, does it count?
Is it produced by the company called Bethesda?
Let me ask you a question. If you've seen a Pixar film, even
Oh,
though
please. Oh,
you
please.
count that as a Disney film.
Okay, no. The
No.
reason he's saying this is because wait, no. The reason he's saying this is because New Vegas is probably the only one of these games that I was able to stand, and it's probably the best out of all of these games. So he needs to use it as they want to use it as a platform. So this is why they're arguing so hard to keep it in.
I'm
Wait,
actually not
wait, wait.
arguing.
Hold
As-
on. Here's the thing. If you're saying that you would like to keep these games, what are the repercussions for the other two episodes and their
They
arguments?
are more than welcome to use
I
every
have
single
two
game
games
of the
to use.
series.
I
Okay.
have 2 games.
Now-
I only have 2 games.
Listen, Dishonored Defense and Doom Lawyer, are you both okay with, how do you feel about this? Are you like, what are your thoughts?
I am okay with it as far as if he's going to focus down on one game, it needs to be a Bethesda made game. But if you want to explain the history through those games, that's completely fine with me.
And that is where I am defending so
But
harshly.
that means that you're opened up to other things as
And
well.
I'm cool with that because in my opinion, like I said, you can't understand where one starts to take place without knowing where you've come from.
I say, if everybody's cool with it, I'm cool with it. I still have no idea how to play this game or what it's about. So you're just wasting more of your time arguing about it. We have 90 minutes. So
I wouldn't say I'm wasting it.
Val,
You gotta
you are a very fair judge. You're a very good judge.
Objection.
You're the
No
best
buttering
judge I've
up
ever
the
seen.
judge.
wait, oh
You
man,
look
you know what?
very
I
nice,
totally
you-
forgot. Oh man, I had a whole great
Did you get the
opening
$20
line.
I Venmo'd you? I'm just making sure.
no bribing,
Well,
no
well,
bribing.
you see, Val, following total atomic annihilation, it may fall to you to save the great nation. And that's why Vault Tech have made extra preparation and are proud to present you a special education regarding aptitude. You are an absolutely unique amalgamation of attributes. And it's time to find out in which you excel, what makes you SPECIAL.
What was that?
Pardon me.
That, huh?
That's actually a song called the Special Round. Hey, Justin, I'm not going to be able to, make these noises for you. Don't waste
Can I
my
throw-
time with it.
Let me throw it to Mothman.
I was just saying what everyone was thinking, John.
Oh,
All right. Listen, spicy boys. I want to hear what Mothman's got to say.
I
So-
would
so-
too.
To lay down the beginning of Fallout, you have Fallout, which came out in 97, and you have Fallout 2, which came out in 98, a year apart. These two Fallout games are actually very, very different than from Fallout 3 and other games that are more recent. They're only PC only, and they are from a third-person view only. And they are very unforgiving games. Anything you want to do, like just to quickly talk about the gameplay itself, any action you want to make takes action points. So essentially it takes energy to do stuff. So a lot of people die playing these games. Like I've played hours of them and I still have yet to beat them. That's pretty much gameplay wise. Story wise.
Wait. I'm helping your case, Jess. I'm just showing her what you're talking about with the third person. What the original.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So basically what the picture has is they have like every time you click on something, your character responds to it. They'll have a funny comment or they'll just describe it. Next to that is like your stats, your health, what weapon you use. You can look at your special, which is your stats that you can choose throughout the game. You can look through your skills. It also shows your experience points that you can get throughout the game. And trust me, it's a lot harder to level up in the first two games than it is in the newer ones. But it's all third person. They didn't introduce first person until Fallout 3. Story-wise, the original Fallout starts off 84 years after the Great War, which is the nuclear bombs dropping. And you are from Vault 13, and your job is to go get a water chip because your vault is dying. Vault 13, like John said, was a control vault, so there was no experiment to be made. They were just supposed to hang out for the rest of eternity. That didn't happen. So you go out, you get a water chip, you discover, wow, the world's really messed up. And Fallout 1 sets like all like the main like locations that are mentioned in later Fallout games. Shady Sand, Junktown, Necropolis, everything that's mentioned in Fallout is later brought up in other games. So that is the third person view that is in Fallout 3. And that was a big deal back in 2008 because everyone was like, whoa, what are you doing? This is awful. And everyone loved it. So you are the vault dweller. You have to go get a water chip for your vault, and this game is also timed. You have 150 days in game to basically save your vault. If you surpass 150 days, you lose the game. Everyone dies, and they're really mean about it. They're like, "You suck." And you have to find the water chip, and you also have to kill the master, which is the main antagonist of the game, who's the one who created super mutants, which are a prominent enemy in all of the Fallout games. They're basically these big, like brute, green-looking dudes, and they're really dumb, and all they know is how to kill humans. So you end up having to kill him, and you like basically he tells you his master plan, and you're like, but super mutants can't breed because of the way they make super mutants. They have to use what is called an FEV virus to mutate their genes and turn them into super mutants. It's a whole like mess of things. So you get the water chip, you beat the master, and those are super mutants. Those are what super mutants look like in Fallout 3 and New Vegas.
Look at those fancy boys.
I'm sorry, but this image.
They look like
boy bands.
Yeah,
They look like
Boy band right there.
yeah, they're about to drop an album.
they look like
They're so
boys.
dumb.
Yeah, they
Boys
look
as
like
well.
Backstreet Boys after the apocalypse.
It's like Space Jam meets the apocalypse.
Oh yeah, the monstars. Okay, so tell me this. So these mutants, are they just like randomly placed all over gameplay that you have to constantly be looking out for?
Kind of.
In the earlier games, no, because they're only in a certain amount of areas. Because in the first Fallout, that's when they're created, that's when they're made. But in the later installments, Fallout 3, they're everywhere. It's like, and there are certain areas that have a higher volume of super mutants. But in the earlier games, they're only really in like a few different spots, just because they're new to the environment. They're a new like thing formed from radiation, essentially.
Okay. And this the master, is that like the final boss, or is that like right?
The master can be fought whenever you find him, really. A lot of people do save him for the last like bit of the game, but I found him when I was like a level 3 and I killed him. So you can find him whenever you want in the game. It's just you have to make sure you have a high enough speech skill or you have good weapons, because there's nothing really holding you back level wise in the game. You can do whatever.
Oh,
That's
God.
him. Yeah.
Yes, that's
Oh,
the master.
I
He's
absolutely
a nice guy.
That looks like the thing. You remember that scene from
Yep.
Oh God. I don't like that. I can see his spine and there's 2 of them.
Yeah, and he
And a
like,
third eyeball.
yeah.
Nope. Not a fan of that. I like it for
Um,
its gore factor though. Oh yeah, so tell me about like tell me about like
Okay.
I don't know. What should we talk about next?
So-
Like the graphic.
Wait,
like,
Val, you just said something I want to make sure that you said. You like gore factor?
I like yeah, I like gore.
Well, Val,
Okay,
have I got a perk
I'm
for
just gonna
you?
take that note, put it in my little pocket, and I'm gonna step back again.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Can-
do like gore, but it's got to be like there's some gore that I like and some gore that I don't.
Do
So-
you like cartoonishly violent kind of gore? Would that be better?
So I'm not a fan of like actual humans with like terrible.
No, not actual humans.
No, but like
if you were to take a chainsaw and put it straight through a demon,
Somebody's
would you
asshole.
enjoy that?
that's
you
fine.
can probably do that in all 3 games, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
it's not my turn. I'm gonna stand back. I just wanted to double check.
fantasy gore is fine with me. I was gonna ask, what is so that sounds like I have a good grasp of like the plot of it.
Mhm.
So could we move on to like
So I want to jump in because we've heard a lot of story, we've heard a lot of background, blah blah blah. You are a gamer. You're here to game. You're here to play the game.
I don't know.
Mike,
Val,
Mike's-
are you?
I'm here to do whatever I'm gonna do.
You will be a gamer. So you wake up. I'm gonna guess now, because it is the year of our Lord 2020. You'll probably likely play one of the newer games. Most likely.
Fallout 76.
Second newest game in the franchise.
Fallout 4. Fallout 4.
Here's all right.
So imagine this.
I will come out in defense of 76 shortly, but not
Sure.
right now.
I don't think 76 is a good starting point. But so you're waking up. You were in one of these vaults. Somebody stole your son? That's emotions. You're mad. You're pissed.
And
You
on
have to
top of
leave
that, you
this
watch
vault?
your spouse get shot in front of you?
Murdered
That's
in cold
some
blood.
bullshit.
Can't do anything. You're frozen in fear.
So your wife
Also,
gets
Bill,
killed.
just for the record, I'm right next to you.
You're that way. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I got to look at YouTube in a second. I'll tell you.
Different on everyone's.
So
Okay,
So
so
you see
somebody
your-
stole my son.
you see your wife get killed. Your son
Or
gets
husband.
kidnapped. Or husband. Yeah, you can be a man or a woman. And you're like, I gotta go save my family. I gotta go find my son. So you leave the vault. You open up and you're like, welcome to Greater Massachusetts. And
In Massachusetts?
One takes place in
Fallout
Boston.
4.
I can find
It's in
my
Cambridge,
house.
baby. It's Boston.
Wait, hold on. Okay, so it's in Boston. So can you like, is it like an actual like map of real
It's
Boston?
a pretty
Pretty
honest
close.
recreation for a video game. By video game standards, I would argue it's pretty damn honest.
Val, I want to jump in here and just say, in terms of map making, obviously the scale is going to be a little bit off. Fallout 3 takes place in Washington, D.C. Fallout New Vegas takes place outside of the Las Vegas area. Fallout 4 takes place in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts outside Boston. I have found my house in Fallout 4.
Yeah, the mapping is pretty dang good. So
I like that.
So
Okay,
basically,
sorry.
you leave the vault and you're in the wilderness, basically, and you have to find your way to your son. So you're just making your moves. You're looking around.
I
and
guess you could say we're making our way downtown, walking fast, and faces past, and we're homebound. Diddle-a-diddle-a-doo.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
So
along the way, you meet some friends. You have some goofs. You know, you shoot a couple zombies. I mean, who doesn't love
Zombie-
Ghouls! Ghouls! You be nice
There's
to ghouls.
there's
for
zombies.
all intents and purposes, they're zombies. You can call them their specific names, but if you took a hard look at them, you hit them with the Z word label. I'm just
It's a big
saying.
old Z word.
Just get a picture of Hancock from Fallout 4. He's a ghoul.
I mean, yeah, he's my favorite.
He's
So
good.
are there mutants in every Fallout
Yes.
game, or are there different?
And there's
They're in
different
every game.
kinds. There's you have the the zombies,
Niken.
the ghouls, and then you also have the mutants. They're two different factions. But then you also have people, just normal ass, everyday, post-apocalyptic humans, just doing the best they can.
Just
Oh, it's my
remember that
man.
just remember that I'm helping you guys with this. Just take
Oh.
note of that.
I mean,
Fucking zombie pirate. That kicks ass.
Yeah,
that's
he's one of your
John
homies.
Hancock.
You literally become his best friend. If you
Uh-huh.
Romantic
If you
partner
choose
if you
not
want
to
to
kill
be.
him.
Wait,
Why would you
you-
choose to kill such a badass human being?
Hold on, wait. Can you
For
tell
the
me more about the
lulz, I don't.
partner?
Yes. So in Fallout 4, you have the option to romance X amount of companions. I think there's like probably 10 companions overall. Like Dogmeat's one of them.
You can,
But you can romance them.
You cannot romance the dog.
You
You
cannot
also
romance the
cannot
dog or the
romance the
robot
super
man.
mutant.
Not the super mutant, but
You
you
can't-
can romance the ghoul, and you get a perk when you sleep in the same bed. That gives you better XP.
That's friends with benefits right there.
Yeah. All right.
I hate you. I hate you so much, but I love you. So Val, since you seem to be the most interested in Fallout 4, I'd like to kind of deep dive into that one a little bit.
I mean, that if you do whatever you want to do.
So I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite factions right now, and the reason that I actually met the creator of all of these Bethesda games. So Jess and I have a mutual acquaintance who decided to cosplay in what's called Power Armor 2 years ago at PAX East, which is the big game conference. Bethesda each year hosts a event called Bethesda Game Days. Todd Howard, Pete Hines, some of the other bigwigs come out and they have a good time. We have a Fallout cosplay group that we are have joined up with, where we get in costume, we go take some pictures, we have some fun. One chick decided to build this. This is Power Armor. This is a Brotherhood of Steel Paladin Knight, or I'm gonna go with Knight. That seems most legit. The greatest thing about the Brotherhood of Steel is they are dedicated to protecting and preserving technology to prevent humanity from causing a second Great War. Now, the downside to this is they are not out there to protect the common folks, which is fine. But my next tattoo is actually their heraldry. The second faction in Fallout 4 that I think really, shows the greatness of what they do is the Minutemen. And Val, I'm sure you know the history of the Minutemen of our timeline. Minutemen in the Fallout universe were settlers who just, there's raiders attacking that random settlement down there. I've got a gun, you've got a gun, let's go protect them to the best we can. And these random settlers decided that they're going to band together. They're not a government in any sense of the word, but they wanted to protect their fellow man. And so those two factions are my absolute favorite. Jess, I don't know who you always joined up with.
I actually always joined up with the railroad.
All right. Well, that's a pretty awesome transition then to let you take over a little bit further.
Can I ask, what is faction?
What's that?
It's a group you can join and be acquainted with.
Within the game?
I was gonna say,
so
I was gonna
within
say
within
you guys-
Fallout, there are several different groups of people that you can ally with, and each group has their own set of ideals, and you are provided with choices within the game to either do things that would benefit one group or the other. You can make alliances with certain groups, become enemies with certain groups.
Yeah.
And they all have different ultimate goals. So you as the player kind of get to decide, which group kind of aligns with what I like. Who's good to keep in your back pocket, who's somebody worth taking out. And you kind of have that autonomy over the course of the game, which is really cool. You have these permanent decisions that you can make that really influence the ancillary characters that appeared throughout the Fallout adventure.
And to that point, it's not just Fallout 4 where this is a thing. in Fallout 3, I mean, that was the
New
first.
Vegas too.
Well, in Fallout 3 was the first foray into this where you basically had two choices. You could kind of sort of join the Enclave, which is the United States government in exile, or you can join the Brotherhood of Steel and protect, the whole of the capital, Washington, D.C. wasteland. In New Vegas, you had four options for a finale, which was you can have an independent Las Vegas. You could have yourself take over Las Vegas. You could join with the California Republic, which is, the government of the West Coast. That is just basically the state of California is their own country. Or you could join the Kaiser's Legion, which is just dudes in skirts and football pads who think that they're Romans.
I mean, that sounds pretty fun.
It all sounds
along
pretty
with
fun.
all the other factions. There's also smaller factions that you can get and have you like fight with you against whoever you're against.
Yep.
So if you choose the NCR, you fight against the Legion. You can have all those factions fight with you, and if they can like all of you too. Like when I beat the game, I had everyone fighting with me.
Yep.
Against the bad ones.
I'm willing to say that for a finale, my favorite finale is the Fallout New Vegas finale because, like Jess said, I had the Brotherhood of Steel from the West Coast who are exactly what I just described. They're xenophobic. They hate anybody who's not a human. So ghouls, mutants, anything like that, they want dead. They don't want to let any technology fall into human hands. But then they also realize that, hey, Kaiser is a pretty scary thing. And if he gets into all this, then we're screwed. I had these random, for lack of a better phrase, they're vault dwellers who they left their home, took over a military base called
the Boomers.
Nellis Air Force Base called the Boomers. In order to initially meet them, they shoot artillery guns at you while you run to their base. And then you do some generic quest line. It's a lot of fun. Meet them. They decide that they will ally to you, not to another faction, but to you specifically. I don't know, Jess, if you ever got it, but there's also these other smaller gangs per se, or when you meet them, they will and if you can convince them, they will send a few people your way to also help in the final battle.
I had the great cons, the Enclave, Brotherhood, Boomers help me. Because the Enclave has a small presence in New Vegas as well.
Yep, but they're so beaten back because, again, the New Vegas is such a spiritual successor to 1 and 2.
Direct, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's maybe 25, 30-year difference. But
I have it written down.
I couldn't say specifically, but I know that it's not like a direct sequel to them all.
It's not a direct sequel, but a lot of what is brought up by other followers, Super Mutants, and especially Arcade Gannon, a lot of what happened in Fallout 2, because the main goal of Fallout 2 is to defeat the Enclave. Mm-hmm. It takes place in Ohio and New Vegas. Vegas is right there.
And I don't know if this has been said, Val. We're going way back to general stuff here. This is a fun sandbox game. You are dropped in a world. You can go anywhere, do anything. It's a first person and or third person adventure. You get to choose your own perspective, I believe is the case.
Correct.
I found it.
You get to craft weapons.
Okay,
armor.
so tell me about that. Tell me about the crafting aspect of it.
Well, Val, I'm so happy you asked me about that. See, I remember about a week ago, you said that you really enjoy city building games.
Oh, this
That's
is
a
the game
mod.
for
We're
you.
not using mods.
No mods.
I'm not using a mod.
No, the vanilla game you can build.
I don't need to use a mod to do this. So in Fallout 4 and to a lesser extent in 76, you can basically play in certain areas in 4 and almost wherever you want in 76. You can build new structures and entice people to come live with you.
Yeah, okay. You create a little settlement and you can recruit new members to the settlement. And they become your friend.
Now, and you can assign them to do things.
Yeah,
The
like
reason I bring it up
plants.
specifically for 4 is because there are plenty of YouTubers that I follow that they do the challenge called Never Leave Sanctuary. Sanctuary is the very first settlement that you find. It's also your former home in Fallout 4. In the real world equivalent, it's almost where the old man's house is here in Concord. And I'll send you a picture of me and Noel kind of sort of there. But you can play the game just as a city builder only in that location if you want to, and do just fine, because you don't really need anything specific to just have a building simulator if you wanted it.
Right. You don't have to worry about saving your kidnapped son.
Who
Yeah,
cares
fuck him.
about him?
Who gives a shit
Yeah.
about him?
Do
Fuck it, I'm gonna
another
make a new
job.
family.
So tell me something. Is it only in that one game that you have 150 days, or else you die, or is that all of them?
That's only in Fallout 1. Is it timed? Other games
Okay.
you can play. You don't have any time.
You have so
frame to
much
find
freedom in
anything.
from 3 on. You're not on a
yeah.
time crunch.
It's only really the first 2 that they have timed you.
Right, and since those we've already been made aware that they don't count towards the experience because they're not Bethesda boys, so we can forget about them. Val, don't even think about them.
Yeah, I'm not I don't think I want kids, so I might just say fuck the
Yeah,
son
yeah,
if
but
he's-
they didn't tell you, Val, that when you meet your son in the game, he's 60. So
And you have like the option to get like a robot version of your son, and you can let him die if you want. You can be really evil in these games.
So basically what happened is when you saw your son get kidnapped, so everybody's in these like frozen chambers at the start of the game, and you get refrozen in time, but you don't realize it. So you freeze for like another 50 or 60 years, and then so you're like, I want to find my son. And when you find your son, he turns out to be older than your dad. And
He's like 60.
his name ironically is Father, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
father.
yeah, the timeline thing is one of the things I was trying to find. It just doesn't add up so much, but
But it's a game about shooting zombies. Who cares about the specifics of the
Yeah, I
timeline? Nobody knows Zelda, and yet we all love it.
It's
Yeah,
true.
I don't
I
need
cannot tell you the timeline of Legend of Zelda, but I know that I'm going to buy the next one regardless. So
so I don't
Ew.
need that the timeline to make sense.
Steven, go home. Saying
I am
ew to
home.
Zelda.
I'll do it.
I want to hear about what you think the shortcomings of the game are.
I mean, we joked about them at the start, which is right off the bat, every Bethesda game I've ever played, whether it's an Elder Scrolls game, which I fought so hard to also include just so these other two couldn't have them, or a Fallout game, Dishonored had them at the start. Doom has had them, even though Ryan's going to adamantly deny it. The
I'm gonna deny it. I
Wolfenstein
mean-
games have them.
Listen, this is the part of the interview where if you're at a job interview, your boss asks what your weaknesses are. And we can tell if you're just being like, oh, I'm just like too hard a worker.
That's
Like,
fair.
Oh,
I'd argue the game is too good.
Oh my god.
It's almost too perfect. No,
Can I-
but
Can I-
what?
can I
Hang on,
point
Ryan. Let
something
me make
out?
my point, and then I will let you get a word in edgewise.
Okay.
At the launch of almost every single one of these games, doesn't matter what the series is, there are glitches, and the glitches can maybe be game breaking at the start, but they get fixed. I mean, Justin
Eventually.
had joked about putting a picture up as his background where it's basically just a very lanky human being. And it's true. Like they're there. I'm not denying it. That's a thing that is a fault because it doesn't stop me from playing the game, but it does detract from me wanting to continue playing the game on occasion.
It breaks immersion.
It does break immersion. I would
What-
say, I think the biggest detractor for me is that once I know the general storyline of the game, it doesn't matter how much I want to explore. Sometimes I just go straight to progress the story as far as I can and then say, fuck it, I'm going to go do whatever the fuck else. and there's no detriment for doing that. Like I can get to a point.
But how is that a knock per se when it's something that really gives you ultimate freedom?
And that's kind of what I'm getting at is it's not a knock in a way, but it's like, for example, with New Vegas, you know, we talk about this big epic showdown on the Hoover Dam, and you've got all these armies who are about to unleash hell on it. And you just go, nah, fuck that. And you walk away before the final mission and just go do whatever the fuck else.
I mean, you have to listen, you got to take care of that one random rancher's ghoulish goats or something. Come on.
So you're saying that there's
Something's killing my big horns.
there's no like huge motivation to finish all your tasks if you don't feel like it?
I would say that the game provides you with opportunities to do things besides the main quest, almost at a clip where you can sink 100 hours into the game and not touch the main quest.
Big facts.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I'd argue the opposite. I'd argue if you can get 100 hours of content in a game before you even touch the story, I mean, that's good game design, baby.
You know,
thank you, Justin McElroy.
What? Go ahead, Doom
Can I
Lawyer.
ask Val, what is your history with video games?
So I was gonna say to Mr. Fajita that you didn't hear this last week, but my video game history is very rudimentary. I played a lot of like N64 with my brother growing up. And then like I think the last game that I ever sunk anything into was like Ocarina of Time, and mostly Ocarina of Time, and it would involve me fishing. So like I didn't really touch the main quest at all. I just like fucked around with the chickens and
all right.
Didn't we all though?
So I'd like to sidebar with my fellow lawyers on Team Fallout. Why aren't we pushing for Animal Crossing?
Because this is a Bethesda game.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, bailiff. Could I cross-examine?
Oh, I was gonna say, should we have the prosecution?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not opposed.
I would like to, because I don't think anyone's pointing it out right now. As somebody who's not really have you played an RPG before?
No.
RPG means role-playing game. And
No.
this could lead into another point for me to talk about.
All right, well, hold on. Let Doom Lawyer have his cake.
Okay. So, have you ever had to play a game where you have to manage stats? You have to manage
Make sure you're putting the right points.
Everything that you're doing.
So I played a game called Don't Starve. Is that an RPG?
I would say that's more of a survival game, but I believe you do level up in that, so it's a little bit of it. So yes.
Yeah.
So what makes a game an RPG?
So an RPG is a role-playing game. The whole point and Fallout is an RPG. So the whole point of it is that you're basically taking a character, whether it's the pre-described character or a character you are able to make and like shape yourself, and you are able to level it up and bring it into fruition as far as like how you want it actually to be.
Right. And to add on, I'm not going to like take anything away, but basically as you like complete tasks or overcome challenges, you gain points
experience
that you can allocate towards different attributes that your character has in the game.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a game to jump into, I'm not sure if you want something with a full leveling system, like a full as far it might be confusing. Like I thought you had like less video game experience. It sounds like you have a little bit. So like
Doom Lawyer, are you insinuating that the good judge isn't smart enough to handle a Fallout game?
No.
Wait. Let me interject.
That as somebody who doesn't play a lot of video games and probably wouldn't be looking for a game to sink all of her time into right away, that maybe a game where in order to get most of it out of it, you have to be already playing 6 hours. You already have to have this managed inventory.
Well,
I
have
am
I got
merely-
another game for you in this series, Val?
Hold on, Doom Lawyer, get to your point.
My point is that, as I will make the point when it is my turn to come up.
Okay, all right.
Which it is your turn to come out. No. This is they've described the game. This is
Yeah.
this is the argument against.
Well,
Okay.
time
make
out,
the point,
because we
right.
did exclude one game of the series so far.
I have one.
You,
I have
you've
one
gotten,
more.
it's been 45 minutes. I think you guys have gotten enough time.
And I have 90.
Hold on, wait a
Oh
minute.
my god.
I have no. We gotta do it. We gotta have some rebuttal. I have one more question for the defense before I think we should turn it over to cross examination. Tell me about is there any like before you start the game? Is there any type of like how do you design what you want your character to look like through from the beginning of the game throughout the game?
Sliders.
Tell me about
Lots.
how are the
So-
slides?
So,
It's a
Val,
pretty good TV show.
you are a fan of a group of brothers that we like to lovingly refer to as the Mackle Boys.
Yeah, I'm a Monster Factory hoe for show. So you can.
So
they
they've
did-
done a Fallout 4 Monster Factory
They
episode.
also did a Fallout
Final
76.
I've seen every one. So I'm not completely oblivious to this, but I've just seen it under the guise of ridiculous sliders and mods.
I would say you have a lot more creativity in the later games because obviously they took what they had and they built off of it. And the sliders really do give you maybe not 100% creativity. like Thank you, Justin. I appreciate you.
See, you can become someone from the Dr. Seuss universe.
You gotta show a picture of the final Pam from Fallout.
Oh
4.
God, I love Final
She's
Pam.
beautiful.
Be the final Pam.
Also, I do
Oh.
want to take a quick 30 seconds real quick and just say, Choltzy, I agree with you. Bill the Fajita, that's you. Thank you. Tylerius, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining our chat tonight. We'll cut that in post, but no, Justin won't.
No, I won't.
Okay, so all right, so you got some creative sliders. Is there anything else that you guys, any quick wrap up statements before we get to the cross examination?
Yeah, the
Yes.
soundtrack flipping slaps like a mofo.
Okay.
Give me 2 minutes on this because, as I said, it's a lot of swing type music. They actually did take some time
There
to try
she
to
is.
find
She's
where the
gorgeous.
Fallout
God,
games diverged.
Woman. Oh my God.
Rochi.
Oh my God. I fucking love Rochi.
She's a masterpiece.
So good. So Val, the two important things are the music that you hear in game are reminiscent of like the late 1940s, early 1950s, but they fucking slap. I do not
And-
have
And the juxtaposition of Ella Fitzgerald going through a grainy filter as you maim hundreds of ghouls and mutants.
I like that
is
you fucking
just
hate ghouls.
Beautiful. I do
But-
hate ghouls.
But
Not the good ghouls,
Yeah,
but
and
the
then you
bad
hear the
ghouls.
same song.
well, Ryan, you're not wrong. However, in Fallout 3, you do get the story of the ranger and his ghoul manservant Argyle, and it's only two little parts to a radio
Aaron
show.
Dashwood.
Thank you, Herbert Daring Dashwood, who you get to meet in the game. You get to
Cool.
meet this dude who takes place in this radio show that you know, I'm never going to hear a radio show today and be like, I've met Robert Downey Sr. or whatever, who is the voice actor guy of the radio show. But you can go meet this guy in the game, and it's so incredibly satisfying to meet him. Or later on in Fallout 4, you can come to a subway, which is also a bar called the Third Rail, and meet a singer.
Magnolia.
Meet Magnolia, the lounge singer, and not Galaxy News Radio, Diamond City Radio, which takes place in Fenway. Then suddenly her songs are being played on the radio later on. So there's this awesome,
Right. There is some like OST on top of
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
these
Get some just
classic
ambient
bangers.
music that just sets the scene. But on top of that, I mean, Val, I joked last week about actors that you may be familiar with. Wayne Newton is a big name. Wayne Newton is the radio host for the Fallout New Vegas radio station. He's Mr. New Vegas because in real life he's called Mr. Las Vegas. Three Dog, who is the radio host in the DC area from Fallout 3, actually talks about your escapades as you progress through the series of the game. So does Wayne Newton, Mr. New Vegas, and to a lesser extent, the dude from Diamond City Radio, who I cannot remember, but I love him because he's so goofy, and I never do the quest to make him feel popular.
Trevor.
Thank you, Trevor.
Okay, so I think we've reached the point where we can do some cross-examining.
Before we do, may I make one final?
Oh, John.
But it's important. It's important to me.
Time is done.
But hang on, because it does make sense to the whole series as an overall.
John, no.
Hold on. You can have a few minutes at the end.
Yeah, Steve, do your job.
We have closing statements. It's all right. We got closing statements, John. We got this.
I didn't even talk about one game in the whole series.
We're at 55 minutes. Can we please get to our arguments?
All right, hold on. Okay.
When you edit this, that's going to sound really silly to you.
John, order. All right, you're going to have your closing statements, but right now we're going to go to cross-examination. So I don't know who wants to start.
All right. So I'm trying to think of things to actually cross-examine on that aren't just going to be basically beginnings of my own arguments. I'm trying to get a better hold of exactly what makes a video game good for you, Val. And that's what I'm looking at right now. But I will just say this. They are not showing you gameplay. They are not showing you the
how bad the graphics of
way that things go.
Hang on. If I can hit that
Hold
point.
on.
This
Not
is
yet,
a
John.
audio
Not
medium.
yet, John.
The people
This is
at
a
home,
podcast.
when they
Yeah.
hear this on Spotify, are not going to have pictures.
John.
Hold
Not
on.
yet.
Hold on. We gave you guys a lot of time, uninterrupted time. Let's hold on. But Doom Lawyer, let me tell you, give me some concrete examples that may not necessarily be based on a personal opinion.
Okay.
You can tell me your opinion, but that may not.
I mean, I will just say I enjoy Fallout. Like, Fallout is a very good series of games. I do believe that it is a giant world, it becomes more fun after you've spent a long time in it and stuff like that. When you get invested in it, it takes a long time. And it is, whereas the game I'm going to describe to you is one singular vision. You can think of it as watching a movie, and every single part of that vision all comes together in a lot more concrete of a way.
Objection. What is he describing that has to do with Fallout right now?
All right.
Game?
I understand that.
Second objection is anybody else keeping an eye on the chat because it's wonderful tonight.
Objection is sustained. We're only going to talk about Fallout. So save your arguments for your week.
Okay.
I still haven't heard anything. Your time's a wasting, and I haven't heard any rebuttals quite yet.
Well, he hasn't said anything negative about Fallout. The guy's practically Team Fallout. Gotta respect the hustle.
All right, let's give him his time.
Okay. Fallout, as far as for a person who doesn't play video games, Fallout is not they're not describing the newest game, which is Fallout 76, which is basically if you took something good, like you ate like the best tacos you've ever eaten, and you're like, damn, those are good tacos. And you went to the bathroom and you took a shit and then you had to eat it. Fallout 76 is having to eat it the second time because it took something you enjoy.
If I may offer a retort, to
No,
you both,
no,
Justin and Ryan. What
on.
games are you
No.
going to talk about for the Elder Scrolls that you?
No.
right, hold on.
Muted.
We're not going to talk
Muted.
about any other games. We're not going to talk
Stop
about any.
muting me, damn it!
Well, then stop talking when we're trying. Seriously, you've had your time to talk.
But I'm making a point.
I don't
Ryan
give a
is-
shit.
Time to
This
make a
is not a talk about one single game of the series. This is
Okay.
the series as a
Okay.
whole. I don't have to
Okay.
talk about Fallout 76. Val probably
Okay.
does not play mass multiplayer online games. She's not going to run out and play RuneScape or World of Warcraft or any of those.
No. You
So
don't
why
know,
would I
okay.
talk about the game that is the
Alright.
most apprehensive to everybody, myself included? I'm going
Okay.
to talk about the games
Okay.
that she can play alone and have fun with.
Does anybody else have any rebuttals for Fallout?
All right.
I mean,
will
we're
be
trying
fair,
to.
Well,
and
hold-
I will be fair and go, okay, we'll get rid of Fallout 76. But at the same time, I don't have concrete negative points to Fallout that are good, are easy to describe to you.
Ryan, let me help you
Not
out.
really.
Just name a couple things that you don't like about the game.
yeah, just tell me what you don't like.
That's what your
Graphics
job
aren't the
is.
best.
Graphics?
Sound design is shoddy most of the time.
Tell me why, though.
Okay, can
it-
can I take over for a second, Ryan, please?
Okay, go for
Please
it.
do. I want to hear your
You've been
arguments.
itching. You've been itching for.
Well, it's there's no like I don't know. It's just a fiasco. Like,
Go ahead.
oh god. Okay, so Fallout the first issue with Fallout is that the graphics have barely changed over the entirety of the series. They have this. I mean, we've showed you pictures from I won't say like newer games, but games within the
The
years
newest
that they
game looks
came
like
out.
Are you saying Fallout 3 to Fallout 4?
I'm saying Fallout 3 to Fallout 4 to
Well, those
Fallout
were the
76.
same engine, so I agree.
Well, it
Okay.
doesn't fucking matter. Like they could have made some kind of
Dishonored 1 and 2
adjustment.
are the same engine too. What's your argument?
About Dishonored. We're not talking about Dishonored. We're talking about Fallout. You'll have.
I'm going to bring this back up whenever he's talking. So
It's all right, John. It's all right.
That's
It's all
fine,
right.
and you can.
I
God,
encourage that. We can bring.
you would have
that
been
up.
arrested in a real court, John.
I wouldn't have.
Fucking arrested.
I absolutely would not have. Because
All right. Continue. Dishonored defense. Tell me more. So I've got the graphics have barely changed, and that's
Yes,
due to
the graphics have barely changed. The graphics sucks. Yes. Okay. So John's excuse of the bugs is yes, we eventually fix the bugs. Except for Fallout, as far as Bethesda games are concerned, are some of the most buggy games that they come out with. There are ridiculous bugs on all of those games. And
bugs involving what?
Graphics bugs, breaking things when you're trying to do quests, things don't work when you're trying to finish things. There's a lot. I have a whole list. I mean, they're from 76, so they have to be thrown out apparently. But
I could tell you a story of a bug. I could tell you a story of a bug.
Go,
At one
Ryan.
point, remember that guy that we were seeing the Ripley's head of the guy from The Office space?
Mhm.
So
Preston.
at one point, I had a mission that I had to do, and I was with that guy. But in order to finish the mission, I had to bring him someplace. But since my save file had started at one point, and he was stuck in the middle of I think it was a soda machine or something like that. I had to lose like an hour of progress because of this bug. Oh, I have videos places on my computer of at one point one of my followers just dancing in the street because he couldn't like aim at shit. And then I also got stuck there because he had to go with me and the game glitched him the whole time. It's got bugs. It's got bugs. It needs some
And
termination.
yes.
They're called rad roaches. Just a heads up.
they eventually get so yes, Val, they eventually get fixed. They eventually go in and they have to patch shit. But the thing is that when you want to play a game, you want major things to not be wrong with that game. And yes, John will bring up the fact that yes, Dishonored had a couple bugs, but
a lot more than a
no-
couple.
Talking about
there was no game breaking bugs on launch for Dishonored. There was some graphics bugs and there were some graphics glitches that happened things.
How fast are these bugs being fixed?
Relatively
it
fast.
really it all depends. It all depends on what the bug is and when it's reported and stuff. Bugs, it's really difficult for a company. I mean, Bethesda usually knows what bugs. They'll tell you they don't, but Bethesda will usually know what bugs are, half the bugs that are in the game when they launch it, and they're currently working on fixing bugs, even though they just launched the game with the bugs in them.
And in the year 2020, I would argue that the Fallout bugs have basically been taken care of.
Yeah. When did 76 come out?
Getting rid of 76?
2018.
And it's only gotten
So
better
2
since
years?
release, I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
It
some
just
of these,
keep-
some of these bugs.
Okay, so
So wait, you're saying they're intentionally releasing a game with bugs, so they have more time to fix them, but at least the game is out.
that's just how
I think
Bethesda
that's
works.
exactly what they did.
That's
I mean,
how
that's-
most video game companies work.
Well, Bethesda is
Especially since you can edit games via patches in today's
Right.
technology, whereas
Yes.
with old games, you had to wait for the game to literally be perfect.
It's
Yes,
It's
and
not like
Bethesda is known for doing it.
Right, the whole
not
the whole
more
company
than-
is sus.
The whole company is known for doing it.
Todd Howard
There's
was
other
ejected.
companies that are
Todd Howard
What?
has been ejected.
yeah. Well, yeah.
I would
Bethesda is known
argue-
for doing it.
I would argue that Doom Eternal wasn't released with one game-breaking glitch that I knew of. I had a full playthrough, no glitch, no nothing, not even a graphical
I've had a full-
misfire.
I have
whole
multiple.
game.
I've had multiple playthroughs of Dishonored with not a single fucking bug I've seen, even though there are
And that was at
pictures of
launch.
bugs.
I beat Eternal the first week of after launch, not a glitch.
Yeah.
Hey Ryan, just for the record, Doom Eternal was developed by id Software and published by Bethesda.
Are we?
Yeah, but
saying-
we're allowing New Vegas, so it's on the box.
I know. I'm just saying that there's a difference there because sure, he's going to bring up Bethesda glitches and all that, which is fine. But
Okay, so let me get to my other
Well,
two
then
points
I should
before
be
we
allowed to
can.
do Doom at all, and I should be able to do
Hold on.
Skyrim.
Hold on. Let's go back. I want to go back to Dishonored Defense because as of right now, the only cross I have is the graphics and the bugs. So if you have other points that you'd like to get across, we should make that happen.
So in the game, one of their big things for Fallout is that your conversations, when you have conversations, they lead to different things in the game, or they make different things happen. And the problem is that it's like a blind luck system when you have conversations, when it doesn't matter necessarily on what's going on. The conversations that actually happen are usually shitty. Like they don't, I don't know, it doesn't actually matter. It's a luck system. So what happens is when you go to have a conversation, you have like three choices. It's usually like 3 or 4
It's
choices.
like 4 because you get to choose like one for each direction.
it
And
depends on the
depending on the-
game.
And it depends on like if you have a perk for certain, like you can have a perk to like have a better response to men. You have a perk to better response to women. So it all depends on the perks you
or
have, the
children.
skills you have.
The only problem with that is that their conversation system is based on RNG, which is random number generation, and it's then impacted by certain things for your character, which means that the conversations can just end up as random shit that doesn't actually go anywhere.
I would like to ask which game you are specifically
Fallout 4.
referencing.
Fallout 4 is specifically what this thing that I'm looking
you're
at
saying that
referencing is.
Can end up as like dead end conversations that don't push gameplay.
Yeah,
I would say 75% of them do.
Yeah, it's annoying.
So so you're saying
Which I think the defense would agree with, that 75% of the conversations don't.
Fallout 4 definitely had the weakest dialogue trees.
I agree with that too. But
But
some of the older
New
I will
Vegas,
also
on the other
say-
hand, was extremely like phenomenal.
New Vegas
older
was amazing
games-
dialogue wise.
and this is important, so I'm going to make this point. In the older games, you had dialogue trees that could split. If you were a super smart character, you get different things than if you were like a average
A dumb
intelligence.
character.
But if you had a dumb
Right.
character, you could maybe by luck guess a password because you had a low intelligence. And it's the same with a lot of the other skill checks.
Right.
in the
Your
entire
attributes
series.
can kind of influence the dialogue trees.
More so in the older games than 4, because
Right.
4 I would say was very dull dialogue wise, but like Fallout
4
3 and New Vegas especially, you could fuck around with so many
and I
people
wouldn't
and
even
just say the
necessarily
stupidest.
I wouldn't even say necessarily it's the most dull dialogue wise, but I would say that your actions have the least amount of consequence based on
Oh, yeah.
the choices that you make on these dialogue trees. It's like a dialogue pole with a different flair, if you will.
Okay.
As you typically run through the same thing and then you get a yes or no at the end.
Okay. All right. Did you have one more point, Justin?
Yes. Well, I mean, mine is more about 4 just because it's the most. I mean,
Whatever.
we
We're talking.
talk about New Vegas, but like we pointed out, yes, Bethesda's name is on the box, but they didn't make the game. So, but we're allowing New Vegas. That's fine.
Yeah.
So why I chose to go with 4 for some of these points is because 76 is a multiplayer game, and I knew all that was going to get thrown at and messed around. And then we talk about 3, and 3 was pretty solid. So I figured 4 would be the most solid argument. And the combat in 4 sucked balls. I'm just saying. 4 was one that I played, and I hated the combat.
Objection, that's subjective.
It is subjective.
That is
Well,
not
hold on.
subjective.
Hold on a second.
The slow down combat system in 4 was horrible.
Bats.
It was
Vats was
absolutely
great.
horrible.
Vats?
No,
Or
it
like
was
when they did the
horrible.
cinematography.
Slowed down, but
Hold
Like
on.
when you
No.
shoot.
it made it more of a gunplay game than 3 and New Vegas
Right.
combined were.
It was probably one of the worst FPS games I've ever played. And
It
I know-
wasn't trying to be an
RPG
FPS game, though.
Right.
What is
Then-
slow
see, that-
down? What is a slow down? Whatever you just
So,
said.
so in Fallout, you have an ability where you can essentially become Neo from the Matrix and go into bullet time.
Let me
So you
hit
can
this
slow
real
down
quick, though.
time and you can specifically aim at targets, including like specific parts of bodies. And while you're aiming, the game gives you like a percentage chance on these hits. And depending on where you hit them, it can impact their ability to do combat.
Okay.
The percentage chance is based off of your stats, the gun you're using, the everything
Right.
like that, which
There's
is
a lot
all
of
things that you
factors.
have to balance and like actually figure out how to do in the game.
Right. And that's I think the point that Ryan was trying to make earlier, Val, is we're talking about these games and we're trying to convince you as someone who doesn't play video games on a regular.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
see, well, that's just proof that even God doesn't want Justin's points to be made.
This is the amount of stuff that you have to do and understand and that kind of stuff. It's a lot to get into to put into a game for someone who doesn't play video games on a regular basis.
So
I think it would be confusing to someone who doesn't play a video game.
I would argue any Bethesda game would be confusing for anybody who doesn't
That
play
is
video
very
games.
It's
untrue.
not
I have
confusing.
to.
What is
I have to
confusing
jump in
about
and defend
Doom,
this
Bill?
as a whole.
What
though.
is confusing? You tell me.
Doom and Dishonored are very straightforward. Dishonored is a little more complicated than Doom.
We're not
Doom is
talking about
very
the other-
straightforward.
I'm gonna bring us back to what we're supposed to be talking about. We can talk about every Bethesda game being. I'm fucking confused. I've been confused for the last hour and 10 minutes. So it's fine.
That's fair.
Don't let me shocked. I've got a mobile game for you.
Oh my God.
All right.
Oh,
Does that
here,
else-
so you understand VATS, and again, I don't know why I'm helping them with this, but so you understand VATS. Here, I grabbed a GIF on it.
Is that from 3?
It looks like it's
Las
from
Vegas.
3.
I have no idea.
No, it's
Oh,
3.
wait. 3, because there's Raiders in it.
Oh yeah, you can explode people's bodies with guns.
Yeah, and you could do that in Doom and Dishonored as well, so that's not a
Wait, Val's
And you-
reaction says that's not a great thing.
No,
You
I
get
mean,
hurt
it depends on the
to
mood that
make
I'm
it
in.
grosser.
Depends on my mood.
So, Val,
I would
the-
say that Doom does it 10,000 times better if you're looking for exploding bodies.
They're
so I don't
definitely
know if you wanna
gorier.
go
That's
with that.
fair. That's
But-
fair.
We're going into it's how long have we been doing this right now? I want to make sure that we have time to
73 minutes. So
All right.
yeah, we got to wrap this up so we can do our final
So-
piece.
Dude, does anybody else is that everybody's point for cross?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Going twice? Okay. All right, so let's go back to, should we do final statements?
Yes,
All right, because are we doing recommendation time too?
probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's always a thing. That
Let's
we
do
have to
final statements and then we'll adjourn court for the evening and do recommendation time.
All
Okay.
right. I'm gonna let my co-conspirators go first.
All right.
Bill,
I'm going to do a real quick little piece. Here we go. Fallout is not a perfect game. No game is perfect, though. But if you want freedom to do whatever you want, not forced to follow a linear timeline, play the game however you want, including build a town, play with a dog, meet new friends, travel. You get to see
pet
the
a
world.
dog.
Yeah, you get to pet a dog. I mean, god tier game. And he becomes your best friend.
Look at how cute the dog is that Jess is holding.
Interjection, John.
And
One person
if
talking at a
you're-
time.
If you're feeling frisky, you can let a nuclear bomb explode. Okay?
Steve, where have you been for this entire episode? That was the first time you've called anybody out on that.
That's all right.
Objection. I'll kick you out, Justin.
Hey, Steve.
No, you won't. He's the host.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Steve.
Muted him.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you muted the bailiff.
So,
All right, hold
so
on.
at the end of the day, the game is fun. And you know what? You can do whatever you want. It's freedom at its finest in a post-apocalyptic Boston or DC or Vegas or the hills of West Virginia.
If you want to go that far.
All
Or
right.
it could just be a hole in the ground, which is the one game of the series we have not talked about, which is the one game of the series that you will probably enjoy the most, which is Fallout Shelter.
I think that's unfair. That's
How
a
is that unfair?
completely
It's
separate
built,
game.
it's
a
built by
completely-
Bethesda.
It's a completely separate fucking
Built
game.
by
It's
Bethesda.
a completely separate game.
No, it's
it has
not.
nothing to do with
Is
my
it a-
Fallout
Hold
games.
on. We haven't talked about this at all this whole time.
Because they didn't let me get a word in edgewise because
No,
they
it
wanted
should
to have
not be
their
allowed.
To be
counterpoints.
to be
All
fair,
right.
John
Yeah.
Pye has 48 total
Hold on.
minutes of talking.
you've got 3 minutes. I'm gonna time it. You got 3 minutes to tell
Cool.
me.
I don't even need that long.
Whoa! Objection.
No.
No, I'm gonna object
No.
that.
They've had more than an hour to bring out a
That's
Fallout.
And I
Shelter.
tried to,
Fallout
and both of you
Shelter-
told me
Look,
I had to
okay,
shut the fuck
Completely
up.
different
Val.
gameplay loop.
Can I
than
show you
anything.
something? Can I show you something? I've shown you what the other Fallouts look like. This
Yeah.
is what Fallout Shelter looks like. Does this look like
And
this?
you're helping me out. Thank
This-
you.
Just looks like the bunker from Lost.
That is
Yeah.
exactly what it is. You build your own vault. And
Yeah,
just-
not the same game. Thrown
it
out.
is the same game. It's built
it's
by
a-
Bethesda.
No.
It's
Wait.
It's got the
basically a
same
mobile
name.
game.
It's
It
got the
comes
same
down to
company.
Val's decision.
Yeah,
Val is the judge.
I'm glad that you brought it to my
This
attention.
whole thing has been about the series of Fallout,
Hey,
the series of Doom, the series of
Hey,
Dishonored.
Hold on.
That's completely unfair.
Brought it to my attention. However, you did have all this time to talk about
And
it.
once again, I tried to bring it up. Both Ryan and Justin told me to shut up so they could have their counterpoints. You then told me to
That
shut
was-
up. I had time at the end. I'm using my time at the end.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. My final verdict. I'm going to give you 2 minutes now. We're going to do 2 minutes.
Oh,
'cause
so I lose a minute
Okay.
because you had to keep interrupting me.
Go ahead.
You also said that you didn't need all three.
Shut
Yeah,
up.
well, that was before.
All right, your time started.
Fallout Shelter. You get to create your own exact vault. In this, you have to build the vault, grow the vault, sustain the vault, and then go out on quests, in which case you send people out into the wasteland to actually get new junk, to build new things in the vault, find new settlers, kill new monsters, and then also defend your vault from raider attacks, mutant attacks, all those other fun things. You get some fun, interesting NPCs that maybe come to your vault, but
What's an NPC?
non-player character that come to your vault to maybe give you a quick boost. Maybe your characters work better on one level for a short time. Maybe they make more money for a short time. But the overall aim is to just keep growing your vault, keep going on missions, keep finding new weapons, new armors, new things to protect, build, and have a sustainable settlement that is underground. And that is my time on Fallout Shelter. And that is where I will leave it at that.
All right.
Val,
Anyone else?
may I interject for 1 second about that?
Sure.
Just so I know it's clear to you what was just described. He just described a mobile game.
It's also on
what
PC.
What you saw within
It's
that,
also on
with that
Switch.
picture was the whole game. It is nothing like any of the other games. It is a side game
Yeah.
that was originally put out as a mobile game in order to get people to pay for Fallout coins, and it was a pay to play kind of sort of game, so that they could earn money. You
Okay.
know, it was one of those games, and it just
Are you
became
arguing
popular.
that mobile games aren't games?
No, I'm arguing that they've been arguing for the last hour about a series of games.
An
And then
RPG.
they describe
They
the
describe
mobile
Fallout.
game, and I
They
just wanted you
describe
to
Fallout as an
know.
RPG, and this is not an
Yeah.
RPG.
Did say there's
It's
an
not
outlier.
RPG.
Yeah,
No, it's not the same game.
I'm not arguing. They could argue about. He could argue about Fallout Shelter. That's completely fine. I just want you to know that what it is.
Duly noted.
Specifically, when it comes down to, in the end, make your decision, I would just like you to know, if you factor in Fallout Shelter, that it is the mobile game.
It's
Okay.
not a mobile game. It's on your computer or the Switch.
All right. Okay.
After it was on the mobile game.
Duly noted. Does anybody have anyone from
Jess does. She didn't talk yet.
yeah. Do we have give me a final statement?
So my final statement on the Fallout games, because it's always a big thing when I play games, is the game tells a story. And I can find stories within that story. And with every Fallout game, there's always a story. There's always different interesting characters for you to meet. On top of the main quest, or which would be the main storyline, you can do side missions. You meet new people through those side missions. You listen to those stories. It's a big storytelling game, because there's never not a story. And if you like those types of games, then you would like Fallout, because that's a big thing for me. And each Fallout game, yeah, the story's not that strong, but there's a story regardless. And I always find it interesting. And that's a big thing for me.
Great. All right. What do you think? You think we're ready to bang the gavel?
I mean, I have one small video for the very end, but I need Justin to allow me to.
Justin, do we have time for a small video?
24
No.
seconds worth.
Nope.
All right. Well, you
I'll
can
just send Val. I'll send it to you privately then.
I'll watch it in my quarters. All right.
Whoa.
It's a porno.
Then I'll definitely watch it in my quarters. All right. I'm banging the gavel. Quarters adjourned for the night.
Okay, so it is time for.
Wait, no, pause it. Make him say it. Make him say it.
No, what?
Make him say it.
mine
He's
has
fucking
music.
here. Make him say it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If he's here, let him say it.
Wait. 1 second before he says it.
Let the
Travis,
sweet
just so you know, you are muted.
let the,
Yes,
let,
I know.
let
Okay,
the
good.
sweet child speak.
1 second, because I have there we go.
All right.
Oh, that's not what I meant to do.
Don't
Okay,
like
Travis,
that.
just say it.
Go ahead. What time is it? Well,
It's time
I
to.
don't actually remember. What am I saying?
Really?
Oh my God.
It's
Travis.
recommendation time.
It's recommendation time.
There we go. Now say it, Trav.
It is recommendation time.
Oh,
Okay,
boo
that's
this
good enough.
man.
I was vibing on that.
I might just pull yours out and just put the use your recorded voice.
all right. Who wants to go first?
What is recommendation time for new viewers?
All right, so it's just you recommend. Let me explain it to you as the person who had to find this out while I was doing my first episode.
Good times. Good times.
You literally just recommend something, and I've literally recommended everything from my hair artist to just bones, just like literally bones. I had a skull.
Just recommend bones.
Not the show, not the show. Real bones.
I just recommend people just use all their bones in their body to their maximum potential.
I had a warthog skull that I brought, and I recommended bones.
Okay.
So you literally just recommend, like, I'll do mine first. So I'm gonna recommend the app Duolingo, and I know everybody knows about it, but so I am learning a new language, and I have like violent ADHD, and it's very hard for me to stay focused on things. And so I didn't think that I would, usually when I'm learning things, I'll stick with it for a little while, and then when I'll reach some sort of mastery, I'll like kind of just be like, all right, and then I'll drop in. But Duolingo, I've been on like a couple, almost 2-month streak of everyday practicing, and I like the format, and I like the way the app gives you like little learnable chunks. And I actually feel like I'm, learning it and like able to start to like speak it. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. I have the like the deluxe version, but you definitely don't need it. All it basically does is like give you unlimited mistakes and unlimited it takes away the ads. So yeah, Duolingo kicks ass. Learn some languages.
Wait. Just interrupt you for a second. So if you don't have the pro version, you only have a certain amount of mistakes you can make a day, and that just kicks you out.
It
Well,
does.
Not really sure if that's how it works, because I got so anxious about making mistakes that I just paid for.
Yeah, so when you make a mistake, you lose health, and when you run out of health, you have to wait for your health to recharge, just like
Oh,
any
that's
other
awesome.
freemium game.
Yeah.
I am totally going to download that now. I did not know it worked like that.
Yeah.
Like a real
No.
life,
So
like,
if you
language
don't
RPG.
habla español correctamundo, it says go back to English, dummy. Come back tomorrow.
That owl was already scary enough before you told me that.
God, it does the reminders too, and it's like you haven't practiced yet today. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry.
That's the worst one. The app will remind you daily. Even if you forget for like 2 months, it'll be like, hey, you're not fucking learning right now, you loser. Get on this app.
Duolingo.
Well, I always like streak is what gets me. That's like
Aggressive.
you're in danger of losing your streak, and I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta stop and go play. So motivating. It's definitely motivating. So yeah,
So good. So good. Are you using me to say so good?
Yes.
Fuck you, Justin. Fuck you.
Okay, Val, you're in charge. So who's next?
Doom Lawyer, you're next.
Okay. So I want to. I'm coming late to it. It's a pretty popular thing, but I'm going to do another podcast as I usually do. This week I'm going to do Reply All. It's a really great. It's an investigative journalism kind of podcast. So it's kind of true crime, but they don't really do true crime. They more of find interesting stories and then follow that story to the conclusion. And along the way, you learn weird, interesting things that have to do with that story. So, for instance, what the hell's going on with John? What the
I
fuck?
don't know. Just keep going.
What was that?
Okay.
Going.
So for instance, there's a story of today I was listening to an episode about a guy who told his Alexa device he wanted the sound of an air conditioner to fall asleep to, because he had moved to a cold climate, but he had been used to listening to air conditioner. So he woke up in the middle of the night with the sound of a woman talking, the jangling of keys, and walking downstairs, and he thought somebody had broken into his house, basically. And he turned on the lights, and no one was in his apartment, but this
Nope.
woman was still talking.
don't
And
like
it
that.
turns out what had happened is the file that they were using for this sleep app was actually a file that was recorded after you go through all the different ways that sleep apps get their files, and then where those files come from is you find this really interesting path all the way to Triple X, the movie Triple X. the guy who was recording background sound in XXX had recorded this sound outside of a restaurant in an alleyway of a woman coming home and saying hello to somebody and then walking away. It was all this background sound, but through all these media libraries, they came and they found a specific where this file had come to. It's a really interesting, and almost all the stories are really interesting like that. Like they'll find something, they'll ask a question, or they'll like get interested in something that seems like so minor, but it just leads to these huge things that it's really interesting to listen to. So Reply All, really great podcast.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Thank you. Let's go to my bailiff.
So I would like to recommend it's Falcon Signal Horns. It's actually what I used today. It's a sports horn. And I retrieved this from the school just for tonight because I wanted to be special. It's a great air horn. It's eco-friendly. If the buzzer on your big clock doesn't work, it works great for games, not just for video games or even the podcast, but like sports games like football, soccer, lacrosse. Like it works for all games. And I just held it down for just like a second or two, and it was really loud, which is it's what you want from your product, especially if it's a sports horn. So it is flammable, so be careful. Don't hold it around open flames. But it's a fabulous product.
Well done.
Good. What
Yes.
about?
I recommend Lamp. Lamp is good.
It's very bright.
Oh,
Lamp
God
is
damn it.
I
bright.
love Lamp.
I wish I had
It's
the I love
log.
lamp. God damn it.
Are
But
you just looking at things around the room and saying you love them?
no, I actually did this one on purpose. But the other one I want to do is actually Ren and Stimpy because
Yeah!
it's log. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood.
It's better than bad. It's good.
That's right. Ren and Stimpy is a show from the 90s that was too crude to actually be a kid's show like they kind of wanted it to be.
But not adult enough to be an adult show.
Exactly. You did have the an episode where there was a shower scene, but these were two animals in a human world, and it was just insane.
Didn't
So-
Insane.
wait, didn't one of them work at a sex call center?
No,
Rocko's
you're-
Modern Life.
That's
Okay,
true.
Rocco's
Yes,
Modern
Rocco's
Life. Okay.
Modern Life.
So
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy
Jess,
is
you're
the,
too pure for that. Stop it.
so Ren and Stimpy is the first cartoon to use the extreme close up, in which they do like a zoom in, like freeze frame, and it's like horridly detailed, and like I don't know if you've ever seen that in a cartoon.
Butter
but-
Toast Man
Yeah, Powder
is
Toast.
a perfect example.
That show, I don't fuck with people who don't like Ren and Stimpy. I have just realized that if someone despises Ren and Stimpy, I probably won't get along with them because it shaped my entire childhood. Holy shit. Okay.
Definitely not wrong.
I want to give a honorable mention to the early 2000s version that came out on Spike TV.
Oh,
which
the
was
one.
much more adult, but I don't remember that at anything at all about that series.
They like got boners in that one, and it was weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
adult cartoon Showtime or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're along with shows like Stripperella or that Kelsey Grammer one.
Stripperella was actually really good.
Did they
series.
animate Frasier?
I was gonna-
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It sounds like a
Like he
nightmare.
played like a demon, and he had like a tail, and he can. I just remember the one commercial where the one girl was like, "I'm not wearing any underwear," and he like slipped his tail up, and he's like, "No, you're not,"
Yeah.
and he like slipped it
Is-
back. And it's
Is this
Kelsey
like a
Grammer,
spin-off
no.
of the X-Men where Kelsey Grammer plays Beast?
I mean, Beast was the best part of
Possibly.
the X-Men 3, so
All right, hold on. Justin's looking like we need to. He's looking very. I can see it in his face. John, what's your recommendation?
So my recommendation for this week is a awesome little shop up in New Hampshire. I like to call Adler Hobbies. one of the games I played there this week happens to be the tabletop game for Fallout. I was gonna bring it up, but I figured, yeah, I see the disdain in your head as I have all these other things I could have talked about, Justin. You're welcome. But I mean, the scenario I played this week was absolutely fun. It was basically Supermarket Sweep Wasteland Survival Edition. And it was me and my survivors versus some super mutants. It was a lot of fun. They sell literally everything. They're right in Merrimack. Let me get the actual address so I don't sound like a silly goose. But the owners themselves are the nicest human beings in the world. I have no problem giving them all of my money, as most hobbyists are. And I can't get the actual thing, but I believe it's on the Daniel Webster Highway, right in Merrimack. You can find everything from the tabletop Star Wars games to Warhammer to the bolt action. I've shown you guys in the past the Deus Volt Knights Templars that I've been building. I bought a new pack from them recently. And of course, now they've got the Fallout tabletop game. So if you want to support a mom and pop shop, especially coming into the holidays, you have a friend who's a hobbyist, Ryan, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This is an awesome game or an awesome store to just, reach out to, maybe get a gift card. We basically all have shilled to our local restaurants as best we can, but they're not the only ones out there who can use whatever help they can get. So since the page doesn't want to load, here we go. It's 515 DW Highway in Merrimack, New Hampshire, 03054. Again, if you end up going there, I know it's a little bit of a haul for you Connecticut folks, but if you end up going there, just let them know the 3 Episode Podcast sent you. Tell them John Rivs sent you. They're going to treat you right. They're not going to try to push extra things on you. You're going to really enjoy your time there. And that is my recommendation. Otherwise, to my good friend John, thank you again for the Spiritus Alibi mixture that was aged in oak for 3 months. Salu.
All right. Mr. William Fajita, can I go to you?
Yeah. So my recommendation for everyone is going to be a musical album. So I'm a huge fan of this gaming music community called Game Chops, and there's a certain mixer there. His name is Mikkel, and he dropped an album about 2 years ago called Zelda and Chill, and it's about 13 lo-fi hip-hop beats based on different Legend of Zelda tracks. This Friday, the 13th, Legend of Zelda and Chill 2 is dropping, and everything's on like Spotify, and I think they have a Bandcamp, and everything's on YouTube as well. But I'm really stoked for it. And they do tracks from all of the Zelda franchise games. So definitely get hyped for that album that comes out.
Oh, heck yeah.
What's the name once again?
It's called Zelda and Chill. The
Okay.
artist is Mikkel, Mikel.
All right.
Heck yeah.
I'm throwing the link to it in the comments of the video.
Add it to my library.
It's awesome.
So much. Can I throw it to the beautiful Mothman?
My recommendation, I'm a little late to getting into it, but recently I've been binging BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, you have.
An amazing.
By the way, Jess, stop making me sad.
To make you sad because I'm sad from watching
That's a
it.
depressing show. Oh my God.
I didn't realize, going into it, I knew it was going to be sad, but they got me the second episode of the first season. I was like, whoa, this is the type of show. Okay. I'm on the last season and I'm like sad to see it end, but like, that's such a good show. And I feel so bad after watching it. And I'm like, oh, it's so good.
The one that got me, Jess, was the one that you TikToked, and I was like, God damn it.
Oh, with the mom. Well,
Yeah.
Bruce's mom. Yeah, that was a lot of people got sad about that. And I was like, well, I was sad too. I had to make it.
You didn't have to. You chose to. I'm mad about it. Why don't you go ahead and plug your TikTok while you're back on the show real quick?
My TikTok is at Singanatra with an underscore at SINGNATRA _. I try and post on it pretty regularly, but I don't know. I just haven't had the time to actually take a day, get into a costume or something, and then make them. But I'm trying to be relatively active, so come follow me. I'm on a BoJack kick, so you'll probably be sad.
I know I've been saying this for a while, and I'm trying to get time to actually sit down in front of the website and put the page together. But Jess, we are going to have a page on our website called Our Friends. That's going to have little snippets for like you and Bill and other people that have been guests, just to have like that information on our website. So
Cool.
it is something that I am going to build when I get around the time to do that.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Justin, why don't you give us your recommendation?
So I have two. I was only gonna have one until today when I picked up Ghost Runner. So my two are both video games. One of them is The Descenders, or I think it's just called Descenders. It is okay, this is gonna be an interesting description of a game, but it's a roguelike BMX downhill game. Which I know that sounds really weird.
I still don't know what a fucking roguelike is.
So roguelike is you get one chance and then you have to reset. It's like you have to keep on going at it.
And
You get to
everything's
a certain point,
randomized,
and then
typically.
usually everything is randomized. So in this, everything is randomized. The paths downhill are all randomized. Jumps are randomized. Curves are random.
Oh, there he goes.
It
Yeah,
sounds a
lost him
bit
again.
like Temple Run. But
Yeah.
it's a BMX game.
Well,
Except you never. So the thing about a roguelike is you're never playing the same game twice. It's not like you're like, all right, I beat level 1. Now I know how level 1 works.
interesting.
You have like depending on the game too. Each game that is a roguelike is typically a little bit different. But like with this BMX game, I'm sure the
we lost him
layouts of
now,
the
too.
levels are different and stuff like that. Justin's really just.
Oh, he's frozen in time. Let's go. Let's
Well, wait, hang on. While we're at it, hey guys, if you're in the Boston area and you want me to put a sticker on your shit, I'll do it. These are rad and I love them. And I will tell you right now, Jess, I will bring them to you personally because you're a good human being. Val,
back.
you have your own.
I have my.
All right, so
Can I
just
get
wanna let
my own in
everyone
the
know-
main area?
Hey,
Hold on.
hey,
Alright.
Travis.
Interesting.
So
No,
hold on,
Yeah.
hold
you
on,
can
guys.
collect them from Connecticut next time you go home.
Okay, hold on, Steve. What were you
Okay,
gonna say?
okay.
So I'm sorry for the feed that just happened. We did cut out, and we are back live.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone saw that except for me, because everyone else is too busy talking about themselves. Thank you, John.
Yeah. I dropped internet for, I don't know why. I got to check my router, but I dropped internet for a little bit.
That's all right. Should we throw it at the sweet baby brother who's currently in hell? Maybe.
He's totally in hell. His roommate's playing a game and he's not getting a word in edgewise. He's also not getting laid tonight because his roommate is playing a video game.
Well, let's let him get a word in edgewise.
I mean,
Yeah,
first you have to
he's
unmute
currently
yourself.
playing.
Hell?
He's currently playing Phasmophobia, so hell works.
Oh
Um,
shit! Speaking of which, friends of 3-episode podcast, we gotta play that shit.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
The spooks.
I'm in.
Spooky,
So-
scary skeletons.
My recommendation. Well, actually, I kind of am gonna have two, depending on how good this microphone is. I'll recommend it.
It
because it's
sounds
nice and
just
cheap.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
It's only $50, and it came
spent
with
more than
the
I did.
filter and everything on it. It's a tuner Q9, I think. It's pretty good.
I think my man Thrillhouse just got the same microphone
Oh.
yesterday, and he loves it. So
Yeah. It's really good so far. I like it.
Yeah. You sound pretty good, Trev.
Thank you. I tried to. But my other recommendation is the new Netflix show that just came out, Blood of Zeus.
I've heard
It
good
is-
things.
It is
so
really
good.
good. It's very good. I highly recommend it. It's basically it's supposed to be like an untold story of the Greek gods, and it's basically one of those stories where Zeus put his dick where it didn't belong again.
You mean
So
all of Greek
His wife got
mythology?
mad.
Classic.
Classic Zeus.
Travis, this is the historian in me telling you, if
Yes.
you enjoyed that,
Yes.
you would also enjoy the new show Barbarians that just came out. It's a German show that does have English dubs.
Okay.
It basically is the lead up to the Battle of Teutoburg Forest, which is where the Romans completely annihilated 3 Roman legions.
Okay.
It's
All right.
so good. It's like 6 episodes, about an hour's worth. I binged it over Saturday, and I it's so good. You just gotta watch it.
All right. I'll try to get to that. Yeah.
All right. Are we ready for me to do the wrap up?
Are we?
Yeah.
Do it,
Oh.
Val.
All right. Okay.
Make me a WAP.
I'm Judge Wop. I changed it. Nobody noticed.
I noticed. I was
Nope.
waiting for my time.
Very good. Okay. So I just do it and that's it. Say
Yeah,
it?
buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for listening or watching us. If you want to listen to us again or catch
Oh,
up
we
on
lost her. Oh,
our other episodes, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, and a handful of other podcast platforms. If you can't find us on your favorite podcast platform, please let us know so we can work on getting you there or getting us there. Our tag you can use to find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and more is 3EP Podcast. Our website is 3eppodcast.com. Please come check it out and visit our host page to learn a little bit about us, our social media page to see our most recent post, our recommendation page to hear a few more of the team's recommendations. We live stream our episode almost every Tuesday around 8 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, so follow us there. Please give us a like and most definitely comment so we know what you think about what we're doing, or let us know if you have any questions for us. If they are listening to us on SoundCloud or any of our other platforms, what do they do, my precious bailiff?
like,
They
comment, and
like-
subscribe.
Excuse me, my bailiff?
I think
They
you guys
like-
have to escort John out of the courtroom.
I
I'm
believe
working
he
on
needs
it.
to be held in
Oh,
contempt.
bailiff, we should
I'm
like,
working on it.
subscribe, my beautiful
They
bailiff.
need to like, comment, and subscribe. Join just join our room. Join us while we do our live show. Have conversations with us. John will definitely talk to you because you know he just won't shut
There's
up.
been a lot of fun in the chat tonight. I will say that.
Okay, and please also remember to check out our network at giveusashot.network where you can find our sister podcasts as well as our t-shirts and other merch. And
Hey,
that's
hey
all.
Val. Hey Val.
Yeah.
Good job.
My ears are bleeding, Chewbacca. God.
Do you really want them to bleed?
Okay,
No,
so
I
should
don't.
Oh no.
we do final words?
Everyone say goodbye.
Wait, I have a
Goodbye.
big thing.
Goodbye.
Jess, whoever
Yeah, thank you
Ghostbusters
for
of New
having me.
Hampshire is, they say woo. And I assume that's your friend. And I'm proud of that. And hello, friends. Hello, but also sadly goodbye. This is the end of the episode. I'm going to drink a beer now. Cheers.
Thank you, guests.
Fallout for the win.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Fallout.
Jess.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you
Delicious.
for inviting us.
We will be back next week with Doom.